Asian here. Iro, Chris knows her very well. She's the one that originally volunteered me to do these Greek presentations. And we part of our trip will be through her hometown, which we were just in last week doing some renovations. I'm a Rotarian out of Houston. Houston International is the name of our club. It's, for obvious reasons, everybody in the club essentially is at least duolingual. So I'm here. I live in Greece most of the year, and it is by my choice. My wife was really surprised that I chose in my retirement to be here, but I said, "You've got to be kidding! This place is beautiful where we're at. We have a fantastic sea view. Food is excellent, and I'm outdoors all the. I just came in for this presentation. A lot of you may have heard about the Sahara storm, sandstorms that blew across the Mediterranean. Mm-hmm. That red sand dust has covered our property, and I just finished power washing all the stonework, the driveways, the walkways around the pool. Everything was red. I just finished that, ran in, took a shower, and got ready for this presentation. So that's my story. I've worked international all my professional life. Only a couple of years that I worked in the United States. I was in Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, worked in Greece for a while. I've worked on projects all over the world, including in Calgary. I was in and out of Calgary many times. So I've seen quite a bit of that. Japan, Korea, Europe, of course. So yeah, I've traveled quite a bit. And the good thing about that travel is at the company expense. So you see a lot of great places around the world, staying in 5-star hotels, traveling business, and really enjoying it when you're not working. And I've seen a lot, been impressed by people everywhere in the world. And so we're continuing. We were continuing to travel. We'll be in Singapore for the convention. Our past district governor, Sonny Sharma, is coming here on this 8th, and he'll be here for 2 weeks, and then we'll head down to Singapore, and after that, Cambodia and Vietnam, then back here. Then we recover and get ready for the grandkids that'll come in. So it's we're busy all the time. My wife isn't here yet. She and my daughter will be coming in from Athens. We've been doing some renovations up in the north, and he's running behind schedule. So that's us. Chris, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to cover in a short time.
So you want to try sharing your screen, Ron?
Okay.
And see how that goes. We keep our fingers crossed.
Oh, let me just So this is actually the view that I have right at this moment. I'm looking out from our dining room across the balcony and towards the sea. So this is why I love it here so much. It's a very refreshing view when the sandstorms don't blow in, which is like once a year that happens, and it's a day or two that it gets kind of ugly. So should I go ahead and get started?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this is the second part of our presentations on the Greece mainland. And we focus on the mainland portions of Greece instead of the islands, because there's so much to see online about the islands, but very little on the regions of Greece I find much more interesting and beautiful. So we'll start. Let me just say this first. You'll notice that I also show the name in Greek for the translated words, and that's because you may find some maps and you're not sure what it is, and if it's both in English and Greek, then you'll be able to understand it a bit better. These regions are the heartland of the heart of the mainland. West Greece, Epirus, Macedonia, and that's the west, central, east, Thessaly, and central Greece. So we'll cover those. And I'm mindful of the time, so I'll be watching. There's a lot for me to cover. Try not to go on too much with each one. You'll all have access. And I think all these the places that I'm stopping in on this trip, been through with just one or two that I haven't touched. Still on my bucket list, I might say. And just back up, the highlights, I've moved to the backup slides. If we have time, I'll go through some of them. Some of them are important, but they're there for reference. And some of them just how to get around Athens from the airport, which I just did on my last time back. I took one of the buses. So these are the regions of Greece. This is the map. And what we covered in part one were locations in Attica and then part of the Peloponnese. Not all of it, didn't have time for all of it. We'll go from West Greece up to Epirus, through the west, central, then to East Macedonia and Thrace, then back down to Thessaly and then central Greece. We're missing many great cities and locations on this. I just don't have the time. Thessaloniki, Meteora, which is where the Greek conference is going to be. Mount Athos, I've been up there with see some of our monk friends. Kalamata, you've heard of Kalamata olives, down over here, and Patras on this side. There's just not enough time. So, okay, now we're going to start our trip going across the Rio Bridge here outside of Patras, and then we'll go up this coastline here. This is really a beautiful bridge to cross, and we've crossed it many times. It was finished in 2004, just in time for the Olympics, and it was their first major accomplishment of this century. It was envisioned, it's a 3-kilometer bridge. It was envisioned more than 100 years ago in the dream of the Greek prime minister at the time, and it's given his name. And it's changing people's lives daily. It used to get back and forth by these car ferries, and now you just zip across. It's a toll bridge, but it's just you just breeze on across. And like I've highlighted here, it's the world's longest multi-span cable-stayed bridge. And architecturally, it's just really attractive. We're going to now go into Epirus. If you remember from part one of our presentations, I covered in the news highlights, Epirus was named the #2 worldwide friendliest cities in 2023. Now we're going to go into parts of it. Yanina is a very, very pretty city on a lake, and it's the home of my son's late godmother. We used to go through there quite often. She was with us in Saudi Arabia and then moved to Houston. But we'd go and visit with her mother there. It's a castle city. The castle is here right by the lake, this beautiful lake. Lake Pasha ruled this at one time, and his castle was over here also. The University of Yanina is here. as well. And as a result, of course, there's a lot of young adults there. The coffee shops along the lake are so attractive. There's just a beehive of activity there all the time. The castle itself, yeah, and my son's godmother's house was on the castle wall. I mean, they built these homes right into the wall. So we'd go to their house, and there would be the castle. Follows it. So I'm jumping ahead. So the castle, the recent excavations, the timing of the foundations back to the 4th and 3rd century BC. It was originally thought that it was in the 6th century. This has always been a well-fortified city. Sorry. That's the contractor. These are views of the lake. These are cropped pictures. I don't have any pictures of my own recent pictures. But it is a beautiful place. And this was the fort of Ali Pasha at the time of through his reign. A story about Ali. He was a bit of a progressive ruler. I mean, he was Ottoman during the Ottoman Empire. There were some very tough barbarian rulers at the time. But when you look, when the Greeks look back on Ali Pasha, look more or less fondly on him during his reign because of what he did to progress the city of Yanina. This is what Yanina is famous for. And this is a new museum. We have not been to this museum yet. They produced some of the finest silver work in Europe. I've highlighted in red the Greek name for silversmithing in the museum. Iro Yes. Iro is my wife's name, Iro. Her name, when you translate it, it translates into silver. And our first business that we had registered in Bahrain was silver management services from her name. The silver industry here it's a large industry. We make beautiful stuff. We buy picture frames. You can buy picture frames, the silver picture frames, and we buy them for gifts, and they're really very attractive. Okay, another thing that they're very famous for in Epirus is the hiking tourism that they're developing. There's trails all throughout the region, and they're working hard to develop the hiking tourism business here. There's 2 trails that kind of on my bucket list, and I keep telling myself every year I'm going to do this. The first is Dracolimni, the Dragon Lake. It's follows along one of the most beautiful village routes in the region. It's located at nearly 1,000 meters above sea level, so it's a little bit high. The trail itself is 8.5 kilometers, and just going, you can see pictures of these villages along the way. Very, very attractive hike. The one that's on my list is the Vico Gorge. It's unique in the sense that it holds Guinness World Book of Records. 1,000 meters deep. The depth to the width is what's so fascinating there. It's a little bit longer, 13K or 8 miles. And I wish I could tell you what it was like going through there. Here's the point, is that these trails are very much overlooked by the tourist business. So you can go on these hikes along these gorges, and you won't have that many tourists in a way. They're all off on the beaches, on the islands and whatnot. They have these beautiful trails, pretty much to yourself. Now we're going to go to West Macedonia, or Macedonia, is how you pronounce it. What I liked here, okay, this was a place that I did go to, was on my bucket list. It was last October, and Kozani is famous for its crocus, or saffron in English. So the saffron industry originated in Greece, and it's spread around the world. However, when I got there, the harvest season is in October, and I was coming back from Kavala, and it had rained. So they called off the harvest until the flowers were dry. So I didn't see them harvesting, which is what I went for. What I did get for y'all, and it's included in the presentation, are some beautiful recipes that they used crocus for. You have some starters, a soup, seafood, and this is a Greek chef recipes, desserts and cocktails. So enjoy them. And this is put out by the cooperative. Yeah, it's a cooperative there, and everybody, thousands of harvesters all come together during the harvest season. I think it's about a 2-week harvest season, and I can't believe I missed it. So the story behind crocus, it goes back to mythology, where crocus was a friend of Epirus, and they were practicing with the discus, and Epirus hit crocus in the head, killed him, and when crocus fell down, whole drops of blood fell onto the flowers and turned the stamens red, and he immortalized him by turning him into a flower that blossomed every autumn. This is in the Minoan temples, the saffron picker. It's like 1600 BC. Okay, well, there's not more men here. I would just say, hold on to your wallets. We're going to Castoria. And what Castoria's favorite, yes, this is the center of the fur industry in Europe. They raise minks, fox, and whatever else they use for furs. And they are beautiful. It's a lovely city, Castoria. It's up in the mountains. So from Kozani, it's an hour drive to the lake region. And along the route, you'll see signs to, bear crossings. Oh, it's up in the mountains. And this is the view from the lake shore when we were there. They're very beautiful. The people are so friendly. Again, you're very, very far away from the coastal areas. You're way up in the mountains. Well, they don't have the same kind of tourism that you would get elsewhere. Most of the tourists that come here are fur traders. So you have a lot of Russians come in, probably now Chinese dealers, whoever else. This is also where the Greek Olympic rowing team practiced on this lake. In the wintertime, it freezes over and they ice skate on. They can skate all the way across. It really is a beautiful place. We did a B&B there with some friends, and it was we went for one day, and I couldn't leave. I needed to stay another night. Now we're going through central Macedonia. Again, we're skipping Thessaloniki and I guess Otis is the Greek name, Mount Athos. And we are, you guys hear me okay? I just got a notification that my internet was unstable. Am I okay?
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
voice is breaking in and out a bit, but we can still hear you.
Okay, okay, good. Thank goodness. Otherwise, I don't want to switch. So what we're going to are the, and this is where we're going in 2 weeks. We do this once a year. It's just such a lovely place. They have two springs. One is at 37 degrees, the warm side, and then the other side, it's 15 degrees Celsius. And these baths are all over Greece. It's a seismic region. So there are, you have mud baths, you have this, and I'll show you some in just a minute. So here we are in Pozar. Here's the warm side coming down, and you could get under these little waterfalls, and you get just your nicest back rub. It's shallow. And then you slip across this little space here, and I think that's Iro in the water. This is where it's 15 degrees. Then you get in there and you get in that cold water, and it's so refreshing. I talked my grandson, my 9-year-old grandson, into it, and he went in there. And this last trip when we were there last year with them, there had been a concert the night before. And all these people had hung around, and there were just musicians, singers, everybody was just kind of chilling along the riverbanks here. It was really cool. This is what a typical room looks like in the hotel that we stay in. Very large. It's like 80, 90 euros a night. And it's built by, the owner is an architect, so he's done a really outstanding job here with this hotel. I could go on and on about this place. It's really lovely. It's way up in the mountains. It's across the lake from North Macedonia, what's now called North Macedonia. Now we're going to Eastern Macedonia and Thrace. Through Kavala is where Iro is from. So now we're going back home. She just left there. Alexandroupoli has been in the news a lot lately. It is the new energy hub, and US LNG is being brought in here for pipelines going through the Balkans. So it's right along the Turkish border. A lot of Turkish tourists are in here, and Kavala. But this is, and the US military was going to open a base there, but I think that didn't happen, and they're going to the island. So this is Kavala. Kavala is such a beautiful, beautiful city. It's more like an amphitheater along the sides of the mountains. And historically, it was originally called Neapolis in the time of Philip II, Alexander the Great. Then Chrysopolis, when Christianity came in. And then when the Romans came in, they changed the word to Kavala because Kavala is the head of the horse. They used it as a horse changing station on the Via Ignatia. Kavala, what St. Paul came into Kavala, Neapolis at the time, twice on his missions. When he came in his letters to the Philippians, Thessalonians, the Corinthians, he started his trip from here. Livia was one of his sponsors, and was a famous wealthy fabric merchant, and she dealt in the purple cloth that was used for religious ceremonies. He was the first person baptized into Christianity in Europe. This is Kavala from the west. This is Kavala from the east, looking west. Again, looking west, and this is Kavala from our balcony. Here. So we overlook the waterfront there as well. What's beautiful here is the aqueduct, or Kamara in Greek. This is the city hall, and with one of our friends from Bahrain that was visiting, and then some of the tobacco warehouses. When I first came to Kavala in 1979, you walked through the streets there and you could still smell the tobacco. It was a major tobacco trading center. They had their own pasha. Muhammad Ali was born there. He's of Albanian descent. This is the statue of him with another friend of ours. He later became the Pasha of Egypt. So he was born here, and then later militarily they moved him along the Mediterranean and became the ruler of Egypt. Kavala is full of life. This is during the daytime along the port, the harbor. At nighttime, this is during in the pedestrian areas where they've blocked off traffic now. In a lot of these areas, it's pedestrian only. And at nighttime, it's just full of restaurants, music being played, musicians. And I tell you, the food in Kavala is excellent. We just, like I said, we could not believe the prices up there this last trip. This is a view from one of our favorite little restaurants. Here we go again. This is Patsas. This is a restaurant that serves only sas, which is like the stomach lining, the entrails that they make soups. The food culture now is much more developed than the culinary tastes are changing. But yet you still get the traditional foods. And here we go, enjoying in Iraklitsa, the donuts called loukoumades in Greek, and they make everything out of them. You get sandwiches made out of loukoumades now. Traditionally, they're served with just honey. Now, this is the tapestry of Saint Lydia, Philippi. Philippi named after Philip II. And this is where my grandson was baptized. This is where the river that Lydia was baptized in. And so we went back. He was baptized when he was 18 months. It was the first time that he's been back to see it. And Coco was sitting there with his feet in, but Agapi, my little granddaughter, no way she was going to put her feet in there. I mentioned about some of the clay bass and stuff. This is the mud bass. This is just across the highway from Lydia. We have these therapeutic mud baths there. This is Philippi, the amphitheater, famous amphitheater there. They have the summer program, the drama program comes through here. And, oh, look who's here. Chris, can you see yourself?
I don't see anybody. Oh, me. Oh, yeah.
It was during Coco's baptism. Iro organized a private wine tour of Lazaridis, and Federico, the grandson of the originator, gifted my son-in-law, who's a wine specialist himself, magnum of wine for Coco when he turns 18 years old. So they still have that. Yeah, there's Chris, there's my son. I forgot. I didn't expect that, Chris.
Me either.
Okay. So now We're going from Kavala to Verjana. This is the burial of the tomb of Philip II and other kings. This is where he was assassinated, and Alexander the Great was named king. Now, the story is, I have to read it one more time, is that he was assassinated because he was going to erect a statue of himself, similar size as the statues they had of the gods there in the square. So they killed him because they felt that he was becoming too arrogant. So we went there with the grandkids on the same trip, and it is beautiful. They've done a beautiful job restoring this. And the museum pieces, the gold that they've found in the burial tombs are all on display. And I could just fill up page after page after page of pictures here. The first time that I've been, it was just last year. And I was so impressed. And what I wanted to tell you guys also, if you think about traveling and you're traveling with your grandchildren, Greece is a great place for that. Children are very welcomed everywhere. The Greeks, they travel with their kids and they go to nightclubs, whatever, you'll see them. They're very welcome. So it's a very comfortable place to go with little ones. So now we're going back through central Greece, Delphi. We're going to go to Delphi here. It is, the Delphi is very famous, of course, as the oracle. And of course, it's not Warren Buffett, not that oracle, but the original oracles. And the center of the world is considered to be there as the omphalos, navel. Here it is. This is the omphalos, the navel of the world. And here we are. Here's Iro. We're walking through, and they've restored the monuments there very nicely. This is the museum. Can you hear me again? Okay.
Yes.
I just got another notification. Okay. So this is some of the museum pieces that they've uncovered, and this is supposed to be just a spectacular. The timing of this chariot driver and the way that he's portrayed with the vision in his eyes is very unique. Next to Delphi is Arakoba. Arakoba is like the ski center of one of the main ski centers in Greece. And I stopped through there, did a B&B stopover, and sat down for dinner. And when the guy served me, I was setting up my plate, served me a pitcher of water. He just reached over into the well here, into the waterfall spring, filled up my glass, and it was perfect. It was beautiful. I had a really unusual cheese that's from this region. They grilled with a honey sauce on it. You can see the style of the architecture, the stone construction in the town. This is the main street. Coming into Arakoba from the ski area, you see these European style chalets now are being built. So getting close to the end here, I just had to say one thing, and you can see where Greece is on the 100 best cuisines in the world, ranked number 3. I don't know how they got ranked so low. The food here is excellent. It's very fresh, mostly organic. You can trust the dinners, and they're on the seafronts. Boy, the seafood you just can't pass up. So that concludes the presentation. Now we're back into Port Thessaly. Like I said, this is our view from our place. We do have a B&B here. There's a link down here. Any questions, comments? I have time to go through the backup slides. I see it's 22.
Yeah.
I'm going to start.
You can just
Excellent
quickly
presentation,
zoom
Ron.
through them.
Sorry.
I said excellent presentation, Ron.
Lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't need slides to talk about it. But
One of the things that came to my mind, Ron, is that you were talking about the recipes. It would be good to send them to Sheila Hart to post it in the newsletter. That would be
Yes, that'd be a
that
good
would be
idea.
really nice.
Sheila, how do you spell the last name?
I'll send you her contact information, HART.
Okay, no
How do I-
problem. I've got it. It's a PDF.
How do I get the
Excellent.
rest? How do I get the
That's it.
recipes? Because I couldn't read them on the screen or screen print them. I need the bigger version.
I scanned it. I scanned it, Chris. So it's a PDF. It's a PDF.
You just-
Also,
You just email it to me.
it's right
That's
here.
what happens when you have private connections, Chris.
Oh, he's quite the. Here's the original. I. Yeah. So again, one of the things that I like to. Here's the thing from last year. Getting around, and this is what I really wanted to focus on. How to get from the airport downtown or whatnot, and and the metro. When I came back from Kavala, I had to fly for shuttle bus. It was €5.50. Stopped right close to my house, less than a block away. Apartment in Glyfada, down in Athens, and the service is just easy. So for €5.50, you can get from the airport instead of taking a taxi.
I use the bus.
Yeah, that's very, very convenient. If you're not carrying a lot of luggage.
One of the things that surprised me is you talking about ski destinations in Greece. And I honestly didn't think that there were ski resorts or skiing in Greece. I didn't connect that.
I think there's like 10. There's one that's not too far from here, in the Peloponnese, and then of course up in the north, there's several large ones. I think they have like 10 ski regions. It's very mountainous. Let me tell you, Greece that's part of the fun of driving for me. Love driving through the mountains. Flatland driving is kind of boring. It's
So
a 2.5 hour drive.
Your recommendation would be, is it easy to drive around in Greece?
Gotten so easy now with the
Oh, yeah?
tollways now. What used to take for us to go from Glyfada outside of Athens to her hometown of Kavala, used to take us 10, 11 hours in the old days because you had to go through little towns and stuff. 6.5 hours now. 6.5 hours.
Okay. So do the motorways and the highways, obviously being Greece, the signs would be in Greek, but do they have like an English thing underneath it so that for tourists who are driving fast,
well,
they don't miss the exit?
Actually, when I was working in Greece, I had a motorcycle, right? That's how I learned to read Greek. Now, yes, it's either on the same sign,
Okay.
pink and top, and then English, or if they're posted separately, the Greek will be first, and the English sign will be posted separately. So you can see both ways.
Okay.
And then of course you can cheat and use Google Maps, and it'll tell you.
Yes. Yes.
Hopefully.
I mean, you get some weird pronunciations for the words, but turn left, turn right. We crack up when we hear the pronunciations, the English
I mean,
pronunciation.
using the GPS in Ottawa also comes up with weird pronunciations. But
Yeah.
it's amazing the technology, how fast it sort of converts whatever signals it has into oral instructions.
Yeah, that's interest here also is the communications in Greece used to be really poor because it's so mountainous, and installing telephone lines through the mountains and into the villages and stuff was always challenging. Well, with the internet technology, all of a sudden, all you needed was a hill, the mountaintop, and you put up antennas, and now everybody's connected. It went so quick, and now everybody's online.
Yeah. I mean, I'm originally from India, and Madhu can attest to that. Initially, when you had the landlines, not everybody could get landlines. And so the neighbors, whoever had a landline, the neighbors would give their phone number to their relatives. And then if somebody would call you, you had to go and grab them and said, okay, call me back after 5 minutes, I'll go get them, so that they could have a conversation.
Yeah.
And then right off, they went to cell phone technology, and now everybody has got a cell phone. And the data plans are so cheap there.
Yeah, we know. We just came back from
Yeah.
India.
Yeah. Everybody, like my sister, and they have drivers and they have help at home, and the driver, now you don't even have to wait for him to park. He can drop you off somewhere, and then all you have to do is call him and say, come pick us up from here. And off you go.
We would call we had a favorite driver. My wife would call him and he'd show up.
Yeah. So did Leslie, Chris, Madhu, any questions from you?
No,
you-
I was
I got the.
excellent.
You
ahead.
mentioned your thermal areas and your mud baths and things. How much volcanic activity is there in Greece?
There's earthquakes, but active volcanoes. The only active one that I know of right now is the one off of Santorini, of the caldera. You can see there's a little island that's forming there, and we went over to it one time. It's warm. You walk on it, but it's warm to the touch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the big one that's always coming up. Other ones, I can't think of any other ones right off the top of my head. But I mean, there's earthquakes here about every day in one location or another. Small tremors, like three something on the Richter scale. Occasionally you'll get a 5.7. That makes the news.
When they had the major earthquake in Turkey last year, did Greece get impacted at all?
Well, they sent a lot. They sent, their rescue crews there and their sniffer dogs and stuff. And they go back and they share back and forth continually. Politics aside, when it comes to human life and tragedy, they're supporting each other.
Oh, good.
No questions. Take food trucks, they load up supplies and they go across the border.
Okay.
So the economic situation in Greece is much better than it was.
Oh, by far. By far. Yeah. Now their Standard & Poor ratings have gone up. They're back on the open market for bond issuance. home prices are going through the roof. Everybody's working. If you're not working, it's by choice, quite frankly.
Mhm. And the is there high unemployment there? No.
Well, there's the black market, quite frankly. You know, it's a very it's very, very active here. So you know, you can't get help. It's hard to get help. Whether or not they're reporting themselves as employed, I don't know. I think the official rate is still only like 5.7. It's a very low rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Argentina a few years ago, and the black economy there is really prevalent. You know, they accept US currency instead of the local currency,
Mhm.
and the rates you get if you pay in the US dollars are the prices in the US dollar. If you pay in US dollars are much lower than if you were to pay in the local currency.
Yeah. Here you pay, you get a choice. If you want a receipt,
Mhm,
you're going to pay the VAT.
mhm.
That's 24%. The choice is
Oh,
yours.
wow.
Gosh,
That is high. We complain at 13 here.
Yeah.
No, it's
yeah,
Well,
but
20
but
21 here.
Oh,
in
21 in
Canada-
Spain.
in Canada, you have two different taxes, though.
Right,
You have your
yeah.
state and your federal.
Yes, but now they have combined it into what they call the harmonized sales tax.
Oh, okay.
So the harmonized sales tax is federal and provincial combined. And for Ontario, it's 13% where we live. But Alberta doesn't have any state taxes. So their tax is only 8% or 6%, sorry, for the goods and services tax, because they don't have the local tax or the provincial tax.
Well,
So when
like
you
in the
go to
United States.
Calgary, you get a discount, you get a deal.
Yeah. In the States, you have like 3 taxes. It's all combined. You get state, local, and you know,
Mhm.
like Houston, it's 8.25, but it's, you know, you get to state, local, and federal tax. That VAT in Europe, the minimum is allowable in the EU is 15%. You can't go below
Okay.
that. So Greece is 24. It's on the high side. It's one of the higher ones. I think one country it's 25%.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's high, and it's time to lower it. They're modernizing all the systems, so they're doing a lot of audits now. You have to be careful with rents. You have to declare and upload your rental contracts. B&Bs, you have to have a tax number for that. And your accountant has to file that monthly, your income. So they're getting very sophisticated.
Mhm. I used to work for the Canada Revenue Agency, and one of our biggest my portfolio towards the end of my career was underground economy, and B&Bs was high up in there. Yeah, B&Bs and Uber.
Yeah. Oh, Uber. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, people who were claiming disability benefits or on Social Security would be driving Uber on the side. On the food delivery services, right? The people who drive for the food delivery services. I have to go because now I have to drive to Cornwall, which is an hour and a half from here. So I'm going to leave. You guys can continue. And I will see you again at 11 o'clock, Ron.
Okay. Have a safe trip.
Thanks for a good presentation. Bye-bye.
Bye, Simi.
Bye-bye. I'm going to leave also. That call that I missed was the electrician guy. So I need to see if I can still catch him.
Right.
Before he takes. Okay. Bye-bye, y'all. Thanks for attending.
So much. Thank you so much,
Thank
Ron.
you.
And thank you,
Very,
everyone.
That was
very
very, very interesting.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.